Oh hey, I'm Helena and I am my friend group's certified crafty bitch. And the other day somebody asked me, how would I start learning crochet? Like what would be a good thing to start with? And I immediately knew the answer is a beanie. This beanie. I don't know why this is moving. Stop, I'm talking. So today I'm going to take you through step by step how to make your first crochet project. This beanie, I don't know what else to say. Let's get started. Okay, so to get started, we're going to look at this label. You can see right here, it says 9 to 10 millimeter. That is the crochet hook you need. So check that out while you're still in the store so you can grab the right hook. So to start out this and almost every project, you're going to make a slip knot where you put a loop around your fingers and then pull up another loop inside that, boom, slip knot. Put it on your hook and tighten it by pulling the longer cord. Now we're going to talk about what your yarn is doing in your offhand. I hold my yarn by putting it in the space between my ring finger and my pinky and then my middle finger and my pointer finger, so it looks like this. This helps you keep your yarn as tense or as loose as you want. Now we're going to make the foundation of this crochet project, the chain. Put your hook behind the yarn that you're holding in your hand and use that to pull a loop through the loop that's already on your hook, like this. See? Now just repeat that motion over and over and over until your project measures about 13 inches long, which is how long a standard beanie is. You can make it longer if you want, but that's what I'm working with. The first thing you're going to do is count one chain away from your hook. You're going to put the yarn over your hook and insert it into that second chain. You're going to pull a loop through like that, and then you're going to pull another loop through all 3 loops on your hook. This is called a half double crochet. I can make a video explaining why it's called that and what the other stitches are. Happy to do that, but for now, I want you to just repeat the half double crochet all the way along every single chain. I think we should do it together all the way through one more time. So you're going to put a loop over your hook, insert your hook into the next chain, pull loop up, and then pull loop through all 3 loops on the hook. And I will meet you back here when you are 1 stitch away from the end of the chain. So make your very last half double crochet in that last bit of the chain, the slip knot that you made. And then I want you to chain 1. So just pull loop through the loop that's on your hook. And your project should look something like this at this point. Now it's time to start on row 2, and there are 2 ways to do this. So I'm going to show you the easiest way first. See that little V right in front of your hook right there? That is your next stitch. So you want to yarn over, put the yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that next stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull through all 3 loops on the hook. And you can just continue to do what we just did for the rest of your beanie. But if you want to get fancy, hang tight for a sec. Next thing we're going to do is the exact same stitch, but only in the back part of that V. It's called in the back loops only, and it's going to create this beautiful ribbing effect. You're going to start your half double crochet, but you're only going to put it in the back part of that V there. Just stick her in. Ugh, I don't know why I said that. And finish out with your half double crochet as normal. See, it's almost like the first way, but by doing it in the back loops only, some of your project is going to be more raised on each side. I'll just show you what it looks like in a couple of rows. See how you have these little raised braids? So I want you to just repeat what we just did until your project is 21 inches long, and then I will meet you back here. So to recap, we left off at row 2 and 3, which you will have repeated row 3 around 30 times, more or less, and you'll be left with this sort of long rectangle thing. Very intriguing, I know. And I did half of mine in one color and half in another color, which has nothing to do with the fact that I totally ran out of yarn halfway through. So on your very last half double crochet, I want you to pull out the loop a little bit and then cut about 4 feet of yarn off of your skein and leave that as the tail. I know it sounds long, but it will make sense in a second, I promise. And I want you to pull that entire tail through the loop and make sure it is nice and tight. This will effectively seal off the end of your project. Now fold your project in half so that the first row meets the last. I'm going to use something called a tapestry needle for this. It's basically a big fat needle that yarn can fit through. If you do not have one and you're in a pinch and can't go to the craft store, I can make another video showing you how to do this with a crochet hook, but it is a little more complicated. So now just thread your yarn through the eye of that needle. Make sure you pull it all through, and you are ready to start sewing your ends together. Line up your stitches like you see here, and I want you to poke that needle through the stitch on the other side and pull your yarn all the way through. You don't have to really use any specific technique for this. Just sew it up so it doesn't separate, and make sure you sew in every single stitch, no skippies. This took me a good 10 minutes, so I'm going to use movie magic to meet you at the end of this row. Dear God, once she starts, she can't stop. So now that we made it to the end, I like to go through this last stitch a couple of extra times, and that is because I am paranoid. There's really no good reason to do that. And then when you're done, just weave back through one of the stitches you just made and pull tight to seal. So you still have this really long yarn tail, right? We're going to show you why you needed that right now. You essentially have a long tube right now, and that's not a real hat. So we're going to cinch up the top by weaving that yarn in and out of one side of the top, and every few stitches you're going to cinch it up tight as you go. Actually, that was really satisfying. Let's do it one more time. Now keep going, weaving in and out all around the circumference of your hat, cinching up every 3 to 4 stitches is what I did. You do this regularly because if you have to pull the yarn too hard, you break it, just like I did here. That's okay though, you can just knot it back together again. So if you did it right, you now have made a butthole. I'm sorry. At this point, I just sort of sew up the top like I'm doing here. It does not have to be pretty or fancy. This is on the inside of the hat. No one's ever going to see this. And when we're all done, we're actually not going to tie off the yarn end. We are just going to weave it in, and I'll show you how to weave in all your yarn ends right now. You're essentially going to go in and out of your crochet with the tail end of the yarn and try going in several different directions. That's the trick to make sure that they never really come out, because your yarn isn't going to stretch in like 4 different directions. You know what I mean? A good rule of thumb is to weave your yarn in and out of 10 to 15 stitches, which I know sounds excessive, but like, you want this product to last you, right? And you are going to repeat this little process with all of the little yarn tails that are hanging out, okay? Weave them in, and once your beanie is finished, I think we should all try it on together. What do you think? Oh my God, you're all done. Would you look at that? It's like no time passed at all. I love my beanie. I hope you love your beanie. Stay tuned for more crochet updates and other crafty bullshit. Bye!